All right. So I have another horror story from Mercer Mayer's Little Critter. I have another I have another horror story from Mercer Mayer's Little Critter. One that still shocks me to this very day. You see, little critters experiences with little sister's urban ranger program have always been filled with happiness and joy. But then there are the experiences that, you know, have been more spooky and unnerving. One experience happened when little critter went with little sister's urban ranger program. The camp at the one of the group campsites at the Wichita Mountains National Wildlife Refuge. In the in the fall of 20 in over Labor Day weekend 2017, little critter went with little sister's urban ranger program to camp at the Wichita Mountains National one of the group campsites at the Wichita Mountains National Wildlife Refuge. And the first night they were there, little critter little critter was on uh little critter was on first shift security, which ran from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And little critter said he and little critter said he had that they had placed all of their coolers in the company vehicles. Well, that night something something came into their campsite. First, little critter heard these weird noises, but then he said that like something something he got out his flashlight and shined it towards whatever it was. And again he sees this pale humanoid type entity with long talons staring back at him. And he could clearly see the eye shine looking back at him. And he knew what this thing was. It was the rake. Hold on, folks. I gotta take a restroom break. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So anyway, Old Critter sees this entity, and he could tell it had these is hunched over, these long talons on its fingers, and he didn't know anything about what it was until little sister told him the next day when little sister told him it was the Rake. And so when he got home several days later when he got home from the camp out, he actually did some research and learned that the Rake actually that sightings of the Rake actually span that the first sightings of the Rake spanned 4 continents, and the first sightings of the Rake date back to the 11th century. That we have a document from the 11th century where apparently a mariner witnessed a creature that matches the description of the Rake, and that sightings of the Rake continue to occur worldwide, but in the form of a creature known as the Pale Crawler, and that we have sightings from very credible witnesses who claim to have had sightings of this creature. Now, um, there have been so many sightings of the Rake spanning across every continent except Antarctica, and apparently there's no confirmed sightings of the Rake in Antarctica, according to what Little Critters told me. There's no confirmed sightings of the Rake in Antarctica. Now, I will say, I will say that um, I myself, that I myself, I've never had any sightings of the Rake, but I know Little Critter has. But like the most sightings of the Rake that Little Critter had has actually been. Little Critters says he's had more sightings of the Rake perhaps in the last 5 years alone, than any other person. Knowing the events of the past 5 years, Little Critter says as Little Critter estimates that's probably why he's had more sightings of the Rake in the past 5 years than any other cryptid. So, like, um, now I can't speak for any other entity that Little Critter's seen, but Little Critter says he's had more sightings of the Rake in the past 5 years than any other cryptid, and that's because of all the world all that's all because of the event of the world, all because of the major world and geopolitical events that have happened in the past 5 years. So, so, like, um, and plus I can say with the recent passing of my father, and with that in the last month, in the last month or so, with the passing of my father, um, I can say that um, I can honestly say that can honestly say that there's been a lot of stuff has honestly happened to me. A lot of stuff's honestly happened to me that a lot of stuff's honestly happened to me that I don't usually talk about. I mean, honestly, I don't know if it's all of the, I don't know if it's honestly like, you know, if it's been like, if it's honest, I think it's mostly just been the fact that I've been some very bad situations in the last 5 years. So, so I think I can honestly say that, you know, knowing that me and that little critter and I have that little critter and I, that I've fallen on some hard times in the last couple of years, it would be no surprise that a lot of what I've been through in the last 5 years has played a part in me um, having problems with having problems with a lot of people. I mean, it's the fact that I didn't really, that I haven't really been able to, I haven't been really been able to choose that I didn't really get to have say in a lot of my providers when I first moved back to Denton. That's really that was really a major tipping point in my life to add to a lot of my problems. The little critter always says that, like, that obviously, you know, but I've always told the little critter that, I've always told people that clearly, I should have known better. I should have known that the providers I was with should have known better and they should have understood and they should have known better. So, I'm clearly not giving Innovative Steps and Avid any excuse for how they treated me. And I'm not giving my mom any excuse and I'm not giving my mom any excuse for not letting me choose my provider. And I'm not giving my mom any excuse for not allowing me to choose Stevens Community Services over Innovative Steps. And so, clearly, one has to understand that, like, you know, sometimes when strange things happen to you, sometimes, so my viewers have to understand that sometimes, when strange things happen to you, sometimes it can be brought on by stress or anxiety from previous experience. It can be brought on by it can usually be brought on by stress or anxiety from being from being pressured to do the right thing. Just like in previous years, how I've been constantly pressured to do the right thing. And it's like how in previous years I've been constantly pressured to do the right thing. And maybe that's the reason, perhaps the fact that that in previous years, I've been constantly pressured to to perform and I think the fact that just in previous years, I've been constantly, I've been forced to perform under pressure. I've been forced to perform under pressure has caused, and I know for a fact that in previous years, me being forced to perform under pressure has caused me to act out. And I'm not saying what Innovative Steps and Avid did was okay, because I'm not giving Innovative Steps and Avid any excuse for what they did. I'm just saying, you know, I could have my mom, I could have done some more research on those providers before I even went to live with those providers. And my mom could have also given me the option to choose another provider over Innovative Steps, which clearly she's told me she made a mistake and was just being very, obviously she made a mistake. She made a mistake and was being very select, being very picky. Obviously, now I realize my mom was being very picky and didn't even give me time to didn't even give me time to process what was going on before I had the time to choose a different provider over Innovative Steps. So, looking back on it now, with Innovative Steps and Avid, what Innovative Steps and Avid did to me should have been enough for me to walk away. Knowing what I know now,